America has turned on Wonder Woman after an Amazon seemingly killed a man on American soil. While investigating this, she discovered the King of America, an individual in hiding that has been orchestrating all the events going on in America. After she got in a battle with the US military, the King used a unique lasso to convince a man that he felt emasculated for losing to Diana in battle, and told him to kill himself. Welcome to the Comicstorian Complete Story series, where we take trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then we read them dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. This is Wonder Woman 5, 6, 8, and 9 by Tom King. And then after that will be issue 7, as it was a fun side story of Wonder Woman and Superman shopping for a gift for Batman. Sadly, this is the last video that Benny had recorded in advance that had not yet been published. So, I hope you enjoy.
A war is coming. Diana knows it. But she is not the only one. A gathering of her friends join her at the diner to discuss the issue. After much debate, Diana finally leans forward. I'm sorry, but I'm done chatting. We decide this as Amazons. You must choose your contest, she says, and Yara Flor smiles as she sips her milkshake. Arrows. Cassie cracks her knuckles. Arms. And Donna Troy steps forward, concern in her eyes. Something different. And I'm sorry too. Diana nods, accepting all of their terms. Meanwhile, Steel has begun to gather his army. First Giganta, the giant woman standing in her cell, looking down at the small soldier. Who are you? She asks with a raised eyebrow. Steel smiles at her. I'm Sergeant Steel, and I'm here to help you kill Wonder Woman, he says. Next is Cersei, a powerful sorceress with a passion and a history of turning men into livestock. Though the meeting might not have gone as well as Steel had hoped, Cersei eventually came out of the pen and took his robotic hoof. Meanwhile, back with Diana and her friends, Yara is the first challenger. She and Diana draw arrows, firing them at each other. The two arrows impact, falling to the ground. Yara believes that Diana is being foolish, that she is far too old to defeat the much younger Yara Flor. 2 arrows are then fired. They impact, falling to the ground. 3, then 4, and on the 4th arrow, 2 arrows slip through. Diana takes Yara in the stomach, missing anything vital. Yara's arrow glides harmlessly over Diana's shoulder. Diana steps towards Yara, who lies on the ground in pain. I have aimed true. You will suffer little, and soon you will have ambrosia in your stomach where there was once pain. Your argument is thorough, though. Now swear it, by the gods, Diana says, looking down at the young hero. Yara glares up at her. You old fool. She winces. Diana smiles. Old and victorious fool. Now swear it. You will walk away from my war. Do not make me knock 5 arrows. Back with Commander Steel, he now visits Dr. Psycho, a small man who blames women for most of his problems. Following this, he went to the being known as Grail, the daughter of Darkseid. Steel isn't important enough to confront her himself, so the King of the United States goes himself. But back with Diana, her next challenger is Cassie. They meet in a bar, preparing for the challenge. Arm wrestling, strength against strength. Cassie believes that Yara made a mistake with arrows, as Diana has had longer to train her skills. But Cassie is young and strong, and her strength is a blessing from Zeus himself. But Diana knows that the entire country is against her after the president's speech, and she won't allow Cassie's blood to be spilled for her cause. Cassie's strength isn't enough. Diana slamming her hand against the table, winning the challenge. Swear it! Diana commands, and Cassie sighs. I won't interfere. You can have your war, I swear it. Diana smiles, putting a hand to Cassie's face. Thank you, my princess. Back with Commander Steel, though. He goes to Silver Swan, who accepts his offer, but lets him fall through the air a little while before she accepts. After that, there was Engelman, who was found in a padded cell drawing geometric shapes on his walls in blood. And for Diana, the final challenge was Donna, who challenged Diana to fight in one of Gar and Vic's favorite video games, as Batman and Superman. Donna knows that she could never beat Diana in a bout of strength or classical skill, so she chose something that Diana would have no prior knowledge of. But even playing at something she's never done before, Diana proves to be unstoppable, beating Donna 2 out of the 3 bouts. Donna stands hurling the controller across the room, smashing the TV, and then turns to Diana. Please, Diana, just let us help you. But Diana shakes her head. No, thank you. Donna sighs, swearing that she won't interfere with Diana's war. By the damned gods and all their damned honor, I swear it. With the challenges finished, Diana returns to her apartment that night, but when she opens the door, her eyes widen at the sight of her three sisters, all clad in their bright uniforms, Cassie shrugging. We considered our holy oaths and what we owe the gods and what we owe you. And it's not close to, Cassie begins to state, but Yara waves her hand from her place on the couch. Screw oaths, screw gods, screw tourneys. You want us to let you faces alone? Screw that too. Yara snaps and Donna nods. Diana, I think what Yara is trying to say in her own special way is, no thank you. So the plan is in place. The trap has been set. At the Washington Monument, Diana meets Steve Trevor. She's concerned for the man as he keeps rubbing his head. Sorry, just a headache. Diana looks at him thoughtfully, questioning why he called her here when Steele and his military are looking for her. She reaches out a hand to Steve's face as pain flashes across his features. I can't remember something. Elsewhere, Dr. Psycho pushes harder, trying to hold on to Steve's mind, making sure that he can't warn the Amazon of the impending battle. But Steve fights back until he collapses, Diana kneeling by him, cradling him in her arms. I tried. I'm sorry, Wonder Woman. They're here! Steve gasps, the ground shaking behind them as Giganta's massive fist explodes through the air. They needed a surprise, Wonder Woman, and from below the earth is the only way to do it. Thankfully, they had the magical powers of Circe at their disposal. Diana turns, glaring at her enemies as she lowers Steve to the ground. Then she spins, transforming into Wonder Woman, lasso in hand. Giganta lashes out at her, the punch creating a massive hole in the ground. Giganta! This foolery we do is familiar, is it not? Please, why not concede and avoid your fall? Wonder Woman shouts as she leaps out of the way of the attacks, but Giganta won't concede. Wonder Woman leaps at her with a lasso, but a bird flies towards her through the air. With a snap of Circe's fingers, that bird transforms into Silver Swan, who slams into Diana, driving her into the monument. Please, 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 you gotta stop. You have to run away, okay? Go and I'll meet you there, and we can run away together. Silver Swan begs, but Diana glares at her. Take your hands off me, now! Diana orders, lashing out, knocking Silver Swan out with one blow. But the villain did her job. Diana reaches out for Swan, making sure that she doesn't plummet to the ground below. This moment of distraction costing her. Giganta moves in fast, her fist slamming into Wonder Woman, knocking her and Silver Swan across the lawn, bouncing as they go. Diana struggles to her feet. She crawls to Swan, making sure that she's okay. She calls out her name, Vanessa? But Giganta's still moving. She turns, ripping the monument in half. She rises it above her head, bringing it down on the Amazon. The force of the blow echoing through the city. In the distance, Sergeant Steele watches through binoculars, smiling at his attack. But the battle isn't without cost. Circe has spent her strength and slipped into a cat-formed slumber. Dr. Psycho and Engelman's abilities have left them both drained. Even Giganta is winded by the assault, but the Sovereign, the King of America, merely pours himself a glass of wine, raising it in a toast to the destruction of his enemy. The radio crackles, and Steele reports. It ain't over. Diana rises, having caught the monument. With a bellow of rage, she throws it back at Giganta, hitting the supervillain in the chest, bringing her down to the ground. The Sovereign bellows in anger, shattering the glass in his own hand. He rubs his head, knowing that he has no choice, knowing that he cannot retreat from Wonder Woman again. Send in the god, he orders Commander Steele. On the mall lawn, Diana breathes deeply, a moment of calm as she turns to see her new opponent. Great Hera, she whispers as Grail, the daughter of Darkseid, the daughter of Apocalypse, approaches her. Diana? The goddess says with a smile, tossing aside her cloak as she gets closer. Your sword? She questions, Diana shaking her head. Abandoned, Diana tells her. Grail smiles, nodding, tossing her own weapon aside. Do not fret. I will find other ways to bleed you, Grail tells her. This battle alone lasted an hour. Two powerful warriors trading blows back and forth, throwing each other to the ground. Grail uses the abilities granted to her by her father, Diana blocking with her bracelets, and unknown to anyone, Commander Steele suddenly disappears, powerful hands grabbing him from behind. Finally, Grail knocks Diana away, throwing her into several cars. She struggles forward, retrieving her spear, bringing it down on Diana's head. I heard you had a divine father, but I see that you are what they've always said, nothing but dirt! Grail hisses, but the Amazon moves fast, bringing up her bracelets, blocking the blow with a spark. Not dirt, clay, and hope, Diana whispers, pushing the girl back, leaping forward, punching her across the face, bringing her down. Grail stumbles, falls, finally defeated, not moving. Rain then begins to pour overhead as Diana stands over her fallen enemy, but she staggers for a moment before falling to her knees. With that, she drops to the ground, too exhausted to move. Though she has won, she has fallen into the hands of the enemy. Diana is now locked in a lie. She opens the oven door and is shocked that the roast isn't done. She calls out to her husband, Steve Trevor, letting him know. I guess it's all right, dear, but you did say dinner would be ready by 6. And it's important to keep your word, Steve Trevor says from his easy chair, reminding Diana of her wifely duties. Diana smiles, apologizing, knowing that her husband is right, though in her mind she knows the truth. The lasso of lies is binding her hands, biting into her skin as it continues to make her believe this fake life, and the Sovereign is watching from nearby, explaining to Diana that she is merely a woman, and that she must bow to the will of men. In this dream, Steve Trevor cuts into the roast and is surprised to find that it is dry. He explains to his wife that if she's going to keep him happy, she needs to work on her cooking. Diana smiles and nods, listening to every word that her husband says, as the doting wife should. But in her mind, she knows the truth. The Sovereign continues to watch her from his chair, sipping his wine, holding the lasso of lies tight, telling Diana these lies, telling her that she is small, she is insignificant. She tries to struggle, but she can't. The Sovereign smiles, standing, walking across the room, pouring his wine on her head. And in the dream, Diana is vacuuming the house. Steve Trevor has gone out with the guys after work, refusing to tell Diana where he is going and what he is doing, because that's not what a wife should be asking. She continues to smile. She continues to vacuum, wanting to make her husband happy in this dream. But her mind knows the truth. For a moment, she breaks free of this dream, her hand tightening on the vacuum handle until it shatters. She picks it up, throwing it out the window. The Sovereign's grip tightens on the lasso, and Diana knows that she can't break free from its grasp. This lasso of lies was made by the Amazons. It is the twin to the lasso of truth, which can't be broken. Elsewhere in the world, Diana Troy tightens the blindfold on Cassie. She can see, Yara points out, believing that Cassie is cheating. I swear to whatever gods are sober enough to hear me, I can't see, Cassie says with a shake of her head as she lifts her bow and arrow. Yara laughing, she tosses the apple in the air and crosses the clearing to where Sergeant Steele is tied to a tree. Oh, she swears, Yara says with a smile at the man. Please don't, he whispers, and Cassie pulls back the bowstring. Shush, I'm trying to concentrate, she calls out, releasing the arrow, and it slams into Steele's thigh. How'd I do? Cassie says as she pulls off the blindfold. The three women don't react to Steele's screams of pain, and Cassie nods, putting back on the blindfold. All right. One more turn. Put the apple back. I'm gonna go again. She calls out to Yara, and Steele looks at them. What do you want? He yells. But back in the dream, Diana is in the kitchen crying. She knows she can't break free. Her mother always told her that the lassos can't be broken. And in the real world, the Sovereign is wearing his crown. He leans over her, explaining that the world will be inherited by the sons, by man. And Diana could do nothing because she is merely a daughter. In the dream, tears fall from Diana's eyes. She can't break out of this. I am conquered. I am but a daughter, she whispers. Yes, my dear, you are. A voice calls out, and Diana looks to see her mother standing before her, Hippolyta leaning down to her daughter. The rope is Amazonian. It cannot be broken, you told me, Diana tells her mother, but Hippolyta smiles. Diana, my darling daughter, the girl who wore a mask won her tournament and then left the island despite all my wishes, all of my protests. Yes, my daughter, I told you the rope cannot be broken, but when did you ever believe me? In the real world, Diana looks up, tightening her muscles and pushing, ripping the lasso of lies apart, and she stares at the Sovereign. I do not believe your lies. I do not believe your lasso, she hisses, launching forward at the Sovereign as he screams for the guards, grabbing him by the throat, lifting him into the air. I do not believe you, Diana bellows, the guards rushing into the room, hitting Diana with tasers, bringing her down. And as she falls, she smiles at the Sovereign, who can only stare at her in fear. Your toy is broken, Your Majesty. Do you have another? Some time passes. Diana loses track of the days. Though she knows that it is folding into weeks and months, she gets lost in her mind, seeing Steve Trevor with her. They shift through the events in their lives, moments that they share, dinners, dates, adventures. One minute they go out to dinner, the next they're walking through a field of roses, and in moments they're fighting the demons of hell. She speaks with Trevor, explaining that she is alone and that she is slowly going mad from the lack of contact. But Trevor believes in her, knowing that she can beat this, just like she has beaten every challenge that has ever been placed before her. She explains to him what happened, that she meant to get captured, that the others, Yara, Donna, and Cassie, are supposed to find her, that by doing this they can find the Sovereign. In her mind, she appears before them, reaching out swiftly, snapping his neck, allowing his frail body to fall to the floor, and Steve looks down at the dead man, an eyebrow raised. Aren't you supposed to be good to people? Isn't that the whole Amazonian creed? I mean, you couldn't at least let me do it? Trevor asks. The moments shift again, and the pair are gazing at the stars, floating on a massive asteroid. Diana revealing to Steve that she killed a rat in her cell. She tried to talk to the rat, but it refused to speak. So she thinks she killed and ate him. She can feel herself slipping further into madness. The moments shift again, and they are now at a party, dancing and enjoying each other's company. Steve tells her that he is there for her. I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. They could offer me the world to leave, and I'll tell them she's my world. Steve tells her softly, though Diana knows he isn't any more real than the Steve that was angry and mean towards her in the Sovereign's false world. The moments shift again and again. Diana knows it's too long. She's been alone for too long. She's losing herself. She knows that she can't beat this, but Diana disagrees, believing that she should just give up, admit that the Sovereign has won. But Steve believes in her, reminding her that he isn't really there, which means that she really believes in herself. You remain undefeated, he says, bringing her in for a hug. The moments shift again, and they're sitting on a couch watching TV. Will you kiss me? Diana asks, and Steve smiles, leaning forward. I can't see why not, he says, and she pulls him in close. I love you, you know, she tells him. I'm not real, you know, he tells her softly, but she kisses him anyway. Do you really think I care? She asks. Back in the real world, the Sovereign goes into her cell, where she's been isolated for months. She is defeated, and there's no other possible outcome, but when the door is open, Diana stares at him in defiance. A rat sitting in her lap, uneaten and alive. The Amazon glares up at him. All right, old man, what's next? She says defiantly. Diana shifts the controls on her jet as she flies to the Andromeda Mall, Clark's voice crackling over the radio. We don't have to do this. I know you're busy and he probably won't even care, Clark says. Diana shaking her head. He will care, and he will only say that he does not care. Then we will spend another whole wasted year with him and the scowling. You think this is going to stop him from scowling? Finally, Diana arrives at the Andromeda Mall, the largest shopping center in the universe. She parks her jet, with the ticket machine warning her that she only has 3 hours of parking, and if she fails to return to her vehicle in that time, she will be conscripted into the Khund Empire's current forever war. Also, if she doesn't get the ticket validated, she will be conscripted into the Khund Empire's next war. After finally finding parking, Diana joins Superman inside of the mall. Do you know how to get the ticket validated? It seems very important to them. Diana says as she stares at her card. Clark shrugs, smiling. I always fly. The two begin to move through the massive structure, trying desperately to find a birthday gift for Bruce Wayne. The first stop is the Earth Bucks coffee shop, where Clark gets a smoothie and Diana gets the strongest coffee in the universe. They begin to move through the mall again, with Clark offering suggestions as they pass various shops. He seems to be into enlarged money, maybe a big quarter. I mean, like, really big. We can get it to match his giant penny," Clark says, and Diana shakes her head. They pass another booth. "Did you see the animation kiosk by the pretzel place? What about a pill that turns him into a bat? He likes bats," Clark offers, unaware of the nearby alien that has spotted him and is trying to rapidly buy a chunk of kryptonite. "I'm aware he likes bats, Clark, and no," Diana says. Suddenly, the alien rushes from the store, the chunk of kryptonite in his hand. "Die, Superman!" the alien bellows. Superman begins to struggle against the kryptonite's effects, but Diana grabs the alien, throwing him to the ground, grabbing the kryptonite from his hand and tossing it away. "Hey, maybe we should get him a space villain. Make him feel important. He likes that," Clark gasps, trying to stand as the effects of the kryptonite wear off. "Or how about kryptonite? You know he has fun knowing that he has that," Clark points out. Diana looks at him with a raised eyebrow. Does he not already have one of those? Clark shrugs, pointing out that he'd always like more kryptonite. The two take a break from shopping to enjoy a 5D movie, which features the likes of Mr. Mxyzptlk and Batmite facing off in a Batman vs. Superman movie. Following this, they get space ice cream. You know, he's not actually a billionaire anymore, doesn't even live in the cave. Maybe we could crush some coal into diamonds, give him back what he lost, Clark suggests, and Diana ponders it for a moment. Yes, Bruce seems like a man who loves charity. No, she says, shaking her head. The day continues as they move through the mall. Clark decides that he needs a manicure, as the Andromeda Mall is the only place that they have the technology to cut his nails. He suggests that they both get a pedicure, as it's very relaxing. At first, Diana refuses. "Do I look like the kind of woman who gets her toes done at the mall?" she asks, but she does finally relent. In moments, they're leaning back in chairs while the aliens work on their toes. "Only you could talk me into this," she sighs to Clark. Clark suggests everything that he can think of. Pets is a no, a Joker gift mug is a no, a robot Robin is a no, a new colorful costume is a no. Finally, as the day is winding down, Diana has it, the best idea that she can think of. She grabs Clark's hand and drags him away until they are standing in the front of a photo booth. "I don't know. It seems like something I would like, not him," Clark tells her, but Diana shakes her head, reminding Clark that he and Bruce are more alike than they think. She tells him that they aren't just friends, they're family. This is something that will remind Bruce of this. So the two make funny faces and they have their picture taken, holding a sign that reads, "Happy birthday, Batman." Afterwards, Superman is looking at all of the small pictures. "You think it's enough?" he asks. Diana nods, telling him that it's symbolic and that Batman will love it. Superman nods his head, smiling, but he pauses for a moment. "Maybe we throw in one crushed coal diamond too, just in case." Diana thinks about that for a moment and then responds, "Yes, this is a very good idea." That night, Batman finds a small gift box on the hood of the Batmobile. Inside, he finds a single diamond and the pictures of Superman and Wonder Woman. He stares at them for a moment before getting into the car. He leaves the diamond at the door of the Wayne Home for Wayward Orphans, and as he drives into the night, he stares down at the pictures of his friends, smiling, as it's pinned to the Batmobile.
And there you have it. That was Wonder Woman 5-9 by Tom King. Benny really enjoyed this story, and I really hope you did as well. And like I said at the start, this was the last unreleased video I found, and so I want to say thanks for everything, Benny. We miss you, but we will keep your legacy going. Rest in peace.